Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sarah here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this video where I'm going to go through my January currently inked, what worked, what didn't, and then show you what I've got in store for February. So jumping straight in, I had 5 pens inked up for January, and I've decided for this these 3 months, because one of these usually lasts me around 3 months, I'm trying to use a similar kind of colorway or color family each month and have it kind of progress from these types of pinky purples through to a truer purple and then through to a blurple blue. That's what I've been thinking. Had some success and then had some absolute disasters, which is just what I wrote there. I'll just go top to bottom, and what I have decided to do is 1 or 2 of these pens with just a little bit of ink left I'm going to use in February in the first few entries for the month, just to kind of, I thought, maybe help with the transition. I'll just show you super quickly, just a really quick flip through. Like, that's kind of what it looks like. Is that all right? The different colors as you go on. So the first pen was the TWSBI Echo Extra Fine in Robert Oster Australis Rose. It was fine. What I've written is not too much to say. Like the ink, but not in love. It wrote nicely. It just kind of was. Yeah, really, I don't have too much to say. It behaved well in the pen. Would I ink it up again? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I want to put it in a wider nib and kind of see if the ink has any more going for it. But in this pen, it kind of didn't impact me either way. Next up, I had my Pilot E95S with a fine 14K nib in Noodler's Black Swan in Australian Roses. What I've written is the ink and pen are beautiful, but not the right pairing. Didn't get any shading with this pen. The reason I went with that pairing was kind of my favorite pen and then favorite ink at the moment, just to see how they'd work together. But you can get such beautiful shading with this ink, and I think maybe in the fine nib didn't do it justice. That being said, still really enjoyed writing with it. And this is one, there's a little bit of ink left that I've carried over for Feb. Next up was the Jinhao 80, but I had a Laomi medium nib on it. I wanted to see how that swap over would go. And I had Robert Oster Hippo Purple in it. The nib worked well. The biggest thing I found was an inconsistent ink flow. So with a page of writing, the top few lines of the page would be really dark and saturated, sometimes almost black, like it wouldn't look this purpley brown at all. And then as you went onto the page, and this is with continuous writing, it would get lighter and lighter. I see that as being a feed issue with a Jinhao. The nib itself worked well, and in shorter amounts of writing, I could get some really nice shading, and it was a really wet writer. But for longer journal entries, that was a little bit disappointing. Favorite combo of the month by far was the TWSBI Go Fine with Robert Oster Burgundy Chocolate Notes. That is the second one I'm carrying through. I had a tiny bit left, I don't know if you can see that there, of my sample, and I went, yep, let's just finish it off. So in this 1 month, and then I guess the first week or so of Feb, will have used the entire 2 ml sample. Absolutely loved it. The pen wasn't love at first sight. It actually took me a few entries to get the feel for the pen. And interestingly, a couple of people commented on my previous video when I was talking about this pen, saying it's almost like with some of the TWSBIs you have to kind of break them in. And that's not to say that you need to fiddle with them. It's nothing like that. It's like they're a little bit shy for the first couple, and after a few pages of writing, they just feel better. And that was absolutely my experience with that pen. This ink, I just loved everything. When it goes, I'm just going to bring it closer here. When it goes down, it actually goes down more of a brown, and then as it dries, you get this beautiful purple, and you can see compared to the Hippo Purple above, to me that reads like more blue, whereas that has a lot more reds in it. But it was just a gorgeous purple, amazing shading, wrote really well. And I love that it did change colour as it dried. Absolutely, yeah, really, really loved that combo. And that's just what I've written there. The last one I had inked up for this month was an absolute disaster. I had my Kaveco Sport 1.1 stub with Ferris wheel press Madame Mulberry. I only wrote one entry, and then I tried to clean the pen. I tried to put another Kaveco nib on it to see if that would work, and it didn't work. I'm just trying to find the one page in here to show you. It just was dry and hard, and I don't think it's legible, and there's like bits of shading, but I did not enjoy 1 second of it. So I just wrote disaster. Nothing about this worked. Ink was so dry. I only wrote one entry. It was so bad. Part of me feels like this ink does have potential. Like I didn't want to give up on it completely. What I've actually done is in sending some happy mail to a pen friend, I actually included the rest of my sample because I almost feel like someone with more pen knowledge would know the right pen to use that in, and this person has a lot more knowledge than me. This ink, I don't know, there's something about it that I really, really like. I loved swatching it, but this just didn't work, and I'm hoping that my pen friend is able to, with her expertise and knowledge, know, I guess, not just what a lighter ink, but what a Ferris wheel press ink needs, because this just did not work. So what I'm going to do for February is I will write out the 2 that I'm carrying over just for my own kind of records, and then I'll show you what else I have. But altogether, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pens inked for February, so 5 plus those 2 that I'm keeping in. But let's get to it. I'm super excited. I'll just get myself set up here. All right. Always pack away the black pen, even though I need it. I can hear people. I've got my window open. People obviously watching Law and Order, because I can hear the theme song. So, first up, these ones aren't going to be a surprise. Pilot E95S Fine with Noodlers. Hopefully I can talk and write at the same time. So I would like to, I guess, just ramble a little bit about how it felt like using similar colours, whether it was restrictive or not. And all in all, it really wasn't. I felt there was enough variation that, it didn't feel boring or repetitive. And I kind of like how it looks in the notebook as well. So I'm hoping that I can continue this Black Swan in Australian. Can continue this for the 3 months. I'm just wanting to know how many squiggles do I do? 1, 2, 3. It was great. But then I was also thinking about maybe in the next book notebook or at some point for a month, like doing a complete 180 the other way and doing like a lucky dip almost. Pulp Addiction, which is a stationery or pen shop in Australia, does like random sample packs. And I wonder, buying a sample pack, and as long as it's not going to, wreck the pen, just going, oh, this is the pen, and pick one out, and that's the ink that it's going to be, and just seeing how that will go. I think that could be a fun experiment also, and also something to kind of get me out of my comfort zone, because I do have, I guess, it's not a vibe. I have a type of ink that I keep gravitating towards. Actually, the same pen friend who I gave the Madame Mulberry to referred to it as grungy, and she's very, very right. I kind of like the muted, little bit moody, darker colours. So the next one that's a repeat is the TWSBI Go Fine Nib, and this was Robert Oster. I'm going to have enough room. Let's do this one first. Burgundy Chalk Notes. All right. I've set myself a challenge this month to have 2 stub nibs and of 2 different widths. So in the Kaweco Sport, I don't know, I'm shaking this one. I'm shaking the Lamy because there's shimmer in it. I've actually put my 1.5 nib on this. Really intrigued to see how that works. I actually have quite small handwriting. So, for me, it was as a bit of a challenge to see how I can adjust my handwriting. I thought it would also be nice to use a thicker line for some letters that I need to write. We shall see how it goes. But this is the Kaweco Sport 1.1 stub nib, and this has Robert Oster, the Great Owl, in it. Ever since I got Robert Oster, the Great Owl, I've wanted to put it in a chunky nib to just see what its shading is like. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. But let's see how my writing goes. It feels hard, but the point was to challenge myself. You can see the shading already though. Robert Oster. The Great Owl. It feels great to write with. It feels wet. You can see the shading popping up already. I love this ink. It's dark and moody. Going back to what I said about inks I like a couple of minutes ago. So this one for me is a bit of a challenge. A challenge that I'm setting for myself to just see how I write with different line widths and see if I can adjust my handwriting at all. Bit of a tea break there. Next up is the Lamy All-Star Cosmic. This I originally got with an extra fine nib, but currently has a 1.1 stub nib on it. I've actually had some issues with this. It's got a shimmer ink in it, and I've already had to do kind of one clean out because it all just got completely clogged. It has a lot of shimmer in it, but I don't think I realised just that much. So we will see if it writes. I'm seeing if you can, when the pen is still one of the sides, just goes completely gold because it's got gold shimmer. You can almost see it a little bit there. But let's see if this writes for me. We'll see. Just like all shimmer. This stub size definitely does feel more comfortable. So this is Ancient Song. Magpie on a branch. I'll just lift that up. I mean, you can see it in the camera already, but that is a purple ink with a lot of gold shimmer. Don't know why my voice went all croaky then. I've written with shimmer inks before. I've never journaled with a shimmer ink, so going to give that a go. We'll see how I go. And I guess, talking about before about not getting bored, as much as, I'm sticking with purples and that could be quite limiting, for me, none of these two purples are the same. I'm still challenging myself with shimmers, with different stub widths. I think that's actually one amazing thing about fountain pen inks is you can go, okay, just use blue, and you could get 50 people to go right with a blue fountain pen ink and no two would be the same. Everyone would have different experiences, different shades, different tones, different everything. And I love kind of focusing in on an aesthetic or a colorway and really exploring it. So I am really enjoying that part of it as well. Next up is a pen that I am really loving. This is my Mooman A1 with a fine nib. I had this inked up last month, but kind of just for like random note taking, so I didn't include it into my currently inked. And I really, really enjoyed it. I had it inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Kirisame, and it was a fantastic experience. I'm just seeing is it out of focus. For this month, I have it inked up with Sailor Yoi. And what I find really intriguing about this ink is it's like every time I write with it, I've only written, I wrote this out on smaller river paper to show you, and then I've done one or two swatches of this ink. And every time it almost reads as like a different color to me, or I see something different about it. And I'm pretty sure actually it's in her January currently inked. Leanne from Leanne Likes has Yoi, and like hers looks a lot more bluer in her video. But then on one of my papers it did look bluer, and here it looks blacker, and then in my swatch it looks purple. It's just a really interesting and intriguing ink, and I'm really excited to give it a go. I'll see if I can find the swatch to show you what I'm talking about. Is it in there? That's the swatch of it, and you can see like there's pools of black and purple, but then the writing, it's like a really, really dark black purple. I'm pretty sure there's no Kirisame left in it, but like even there it looks different. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes as I use the pen. But either way, it just writes really beautifully, and I really enjoy it. Next up, a pen I haven't used yet. This is my Jinhao 82. And I'm excited to give this one a go and see if this is a very popular ink. We'll see if you guys can guess what it is. I wonder what the timestamp will be. Before I say what it is, if you know what it is, put it in the comments with a timestamp. We'll see if you get it right or not. This is the Jinhao 82. Fine, no, fine. All right, who got that bit right so far? Sailor Studio 224. I'm really excited to write with this pen. It feels great. My first impressions between this one and the Jinhao 80, because I did a video, like a new pen day at the same time, was I liked this one more. So having written with the other one now, I'm really excited to give this one a go. It feels great in the hand, the size, the weight, how the nib feels on the page, everything. So I'm super excited to give that one a go. One more, and as you can see when I talk about purple, there's just so many options, and kind of moving from that to that, I don't know, it kind of makes sense in my head. But I did feel like I was getting quite abstract on purple with these, so I thought I better put one more in that is a quote-unquote truer purple with a pen that I haven't done a video on yet, but it's my first time using it. It is the Franklin Christoph 46. T-break there, and this has an extra fine flex nib on it. And this is inked with Robert Oster Muddy Crown. So hopefully very soon you'll see a video on this because I'm still getting to know it. Just so I don't run out of room. And this ink as well, I actually feel goes down like a warmer purple and dries a colder purple, which I kind of like. So there you have it. That is my currently inked for February. These will be in the first week, 10 days, and then that will be the bulk of it there. But it's moving from that to that. And I'll show you quickly what it looks like on Tomoe River paper as well. I made so many mistakes when doing that one, but you can see, I'm just looking through the camera, look how much shimmer there is. So let's see if this will work, if they're all going to stay in their spots. This is what my Feb currently inked looks like. Would love to know your thoughts. If there's a pen and ink combo in there you'd love to know more about or see a bit more exploration on, drop a comment below and let me know. Or if there's an ink that you're like, I've used that, loved it, I'd love to know as well. Also, what's your favorite purple? Purple is fast becoming my favorite ink color, so I'm always on the lookout. I would really like to try some of the Diamond Music inks. I think it's Vivaldi is like a grey purple that looks incredible. I'd really like to try that one, but always yeah, let me know what your absolute favorite purple is, because I think purple is my happy place at the moment. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have currently inked for February as well. See you later.